Episode 022 with Clarissa May.
Hello and welcome to another episode of One Voice Can Change the World podcast. I'm your host Tina Bangel and I'm thrilled that you're here. Thank you for joining us. My next guest is Clarissa Bock. She has been one of my students from One Voice School of Singing, and I'm thrilled to share her story with you because she has now released her very first single called Vulnerable, and it's available now. All the links are in the show notes, so you can go check it out. Clarissa May is a singer, a songwriter, a producer, and very multi-talented. She plays a number of instruments. We chat about how she got started with music. We also chat about how she created her first single, Vulnerable, and how important it is to be vulnerable. We chat about how she has had opportunities singing at music festivals. And if you wanted to get into that genre and do music festivals, she chats about how she got about getting those gigs. So listen out for that if that's something that you would love to do for yourself. I love how Clarissa keeps growing and evolving and learning, and she's not afraid to learn. And we chat about how she had to make 180 degrees turns and pivot in certain ways so that she can create her own signature sound and also her own music and find her own direction. I hope this gives you some inspiration if you are a budding performer or even if you are a seasoned performer.
But before we go on with our episode, I just wanted to give a big shout out to our reviewer of the week. Her name is 6 Feet Danish Girl, and she says that this podcast is an inspiring insight. What a fabulous idea for a podcast. I've just listened to the Amanda Easton episode and now looking forward to listening to the rest. What a fascinating and inspiring insight into the lives of music industry survivors. Well done, Tina. Well, thank you, 6 Foot Danish Girl. I'm glad that you are enjoying the episodes. And if you would like to be a reviewer of the week, please leave a review and a rating, and I'll read it out in our next episode, hopefully. So thank you for taking the time to review that. Now, without further ado, here is Clarissa May.
Welcome to One Voice Can Change the World podcast. I'm your host, Tina Bangel, vocal coach and professional vocalist. In each episode, we bring you an inspiring person doing wonders in the music industry today. We hope to give you motivating messages to help you navigate towards your musical dreams. I'm so grateful you're here, and now let's give you something to sing about.
It's so nice to see you, and Happy New Year, and I'm so happy that you're part of the new episodes that are coming out this year.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's really awesome.
You're so welcome. I have been watching you grow since, the age of, how old? 13? Or even earlier,
yeah.
And I'm really, really proud of your growth and the way that you just kind of have paved your own way, and you haven't followed anybody, but you've just decided, this is how I want to go. And I've watched you grow, and I think, there's parts where you were maneuvering through this way, this side of you're kind of trying to find yourself, and then pivoting a different way, and now you're kind of in this zone where you're just creating things for yourself. And I'm so happy that you're finding things that are making you light up, and it's been wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah.
That's okay. I'd love to know how you got started with music. I know that you went to One Voice, but when did it all start? How did you know that you just loved to sing?
Well, I was doing lessons in singing and piano actually since I was maybe 7. Like my mom just wanted to chuck me into some sort of activity, and she said, do you want to do singing and choose an instrument and you can learn? And I was like, piano. And yeah, that's kind of how it all started. And since then, I think I was just always doing music. I don't remember doing anything else. I was always in, at the music school that I was at, or just singing somewhere, singing at parties or events that my mum would take me to. And yeah, I just knew it was something I wanted to do for a long time. Yeah.
When did you start piano?
It was the same time I started vocal lessons, so around the age of 7. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I know that you also play the saxophone.
Yeah, at the music school I was at, the music teacher decided to, put me in one of the bands. Yeah, so I started off with clarinet and then went into saxophone, and then I just wanted to learn everything, so I was picking up guitar and a bit of drums as well. And
yeah, very talented.
Oh, thank you.
It was June Javier's
yes,
music
June
school.
Javier.
Yeah. I know there's a lot of people that I know that have come through there as well. And
yeah.
And even when they first started out, I think they had a partnership with one of my school friends, her parents. Yeah, and and that's when I first started going to some of their lessons, because one of their teachers was Kathleen De Leon. Do you remember her? From, you know Kathleen, right? We're from High Five. So I for a couple of months I went to Kathleen, and then she got the call for High Five.
Man.
You were doing that, and then you got into One Voice, and then you got into Newtown Performing Arts, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how was that?
Yeah. It was really good. I think it was because I'm a very introverted person, and it was really awesome. It was a great challenge for me, and it definitely opened up my personality. And obviously in high school you're still exploring like who you are and stuff. Even now I still am. But so it was really good, and I met some really awesome friends that I think I'll have around for a long time. And I met some really cool, interesting people, and lots of people who are more in, my field of, doing music or dance or acting or whatever. So it's really cool.
That's awesome. And then you went to study at JMC?
Yeah. I went straight out of high school. I decided to do a music course. So I did a bachelor's in music, and it was interesting. It was quite hard. I actually only graduated just last year. So that's really recently that I finished, and it was really awesome. It was really good because it was just a step closer to, doing what I want to do. I got to meet more musos who are, kind of aspiring to do a similar thing to me. So it's really awesome to be around like-minded people and people trying to go for the same thing. And, I met some of my best friends there. So it was really cool.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's great. And your showcase was amazing too. It was really wonderful. You're welcome. So tell us about your amazing opportunities that you've been given these past few years, because you've done a lot of music festivals at Parramatta Park and food and music festivals.
It kind of started with this workshop I did in Parramatta. I did this all-girl electronic music workshop, which I'm so grateful for because it really sparked all the opportunities that came after. Yeah, so through the workshop, Para Lanes, which is a food festival, and The Plot both booked me to play for their event. So it was really awesome because they were just looking for local acts. So I played first Para Lanes, which is a food festival, and they have music stages around, which is really cool. And then I played The Plot, which is a local music festival in Parramatta Park, and they have some acts from Triple J, and it's really cool. And then after that, I got booked to play at MCA, which is the Museum of Contemporary Art, and I got booked by Caroline Garcia, who I guess knew me from one of the mentors of the workshop that I did. So it was really awesome, just like word of mouth things. And that was really cool. The event was called Art Bar, and it was a really awesome event just because it was something that I'd never been to before, but it was really cool, different in an art gallery, different performances and live art performance or
cool.
interviews and stuff. And it was really cool. And even now I'm like booked for another festival this year. And I really don't know how they found me, to be honest. Like maybe they saw me playing at the Plot or something. But I'm playing the Secret Garden Festival, which is in February. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a sold out festival, so it's really exciting. Yeah, it's a few years now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a few years now, but it's a volunteer-run festival, and it's a 2-day festival. It's like in the forest and looks very
secret gardenish.
Yeah, like a garden.
So what forest? Which forest is it at?
I don't know how to say it. Rowan Hill.
Oh, okay.
It's about an hour out from where I live. So.
Oh, cool. I've never even heard of it. So, so when you say it's a sold out, like how many are they expecting?
I'm guessing a couple thousand. Like they sell out every year, and it's kind of cool. They don't release the lineup until it's sold out, which is really cool because then people are there just to enjoy. They're not there to see one act. Like they're there for a good time and to listen to music and stuff. So.
And how long is your spot for?
I got a 30-minute set I'm playing on both days. So it's a 2-day festival.
Yeah.
And I'm playing 30 minutes on each day.
Do you stay there or are you going to come home and then?
I was offered a spot to camp there, but I think I'll go home just because if I'm performing, I don't want to stay there. But
you want to be fresh, right?
Yeah, I want to feel good.
Yeah. Well, that's so awesome. Like, it's just word of mouth and that's happening. And I think that's the importance of being in the industry is that knowing how to put yourself out there and build relationships. And is that something that you've really focused on over the years, or like it's kind of inbuilt with you? Because I know your parents are very much into the Filipino community and they're very helpful in the community. Are your parents your inspiration in that sense, or did you have to work at it, or how did you learn about it?
Yeah, they're pretty inspirational in that way. Every time I go out with my mom, someone will come up and be like, hello, and we'll leave and she'll be like, I don't even know who that is. And I'll be like, what? Yeah. Even my dad, they're just like social people, but with me, because of my introverted nature and I'm a bit awkward in social situations, and I had to really work through that and really, put myself out there a lot and just build up the courage to say hi to someone and not be scared.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, and I think, like, looking back now, like, I'm, much older than you, but when I was your age, like, the things that you're doing now at your age, I didn't, I wasn't very good at it. So it is a learning process. It's something that you've got to learn. And I think when you're surrounded by people who know how to, hold conversations and talk to people and just be friendly, I think, it helps a lot. So your parents are amazing at that. They're just so friendly, but they're still not in your face, They're still, they're very giving people and they're very much a huge part of the Filipino community. So, you're very lucky.
Thank you.
And also, you were performing in a lot of Filipino events. How did you, feel about those opportunities that you were given?
It was really good because in my head I feel like everything happens for a reason, and I feel like all those opportunities that I had were, part of the process and to where I am now, and it really provided performance experience and performing in front of big crowds, little crowds. So, it was so great. I did a lot. I did quite a few, and it was awesome. And it was hard for me to not kind of leave that. Not that I left the community, but kind of stopped doing those gigs because a lot of people knew me and they really wanted me for their shows. But I was trying to, I think the timing was for me to go on a different path now, so it was a bit hard to leave. But I'm so grateful for all the gigs that I did, and I definitely wouldn't be who I am as a performer or singer if it wasn't for those opportunities. So,
yeah. And what you said about big and small, it's amazing how you learn so much about yourself when you are performing at a, in a huge in front of a huge crowd. And then an intimate situation where it's So what do you like best? Do you like performing in a festival setting, or do you like the intimate?
I do love the big crowds, because I feel like I get more nervous in front of little crowds because you can see everyone's, reactions and it's more personal, but big crowds for sure.
Yeah, that's cool. I often look at pictures of people doing what you do. So they have their computer and their keyboard, and it's very different to cabaret. It's very different to like a show on a big musical theatre stage. Or what do you feel when you're on stage like that? Like, what is the mindset that you have? Do you, when you watch other people, what have you learnt from them, the people that are kind of up there with big names?
Oh, what have I learned?
Yeah, what have you learnt? Or what do you look at and you think, I really like the way they're performing, or that, what is it that the audience gravitates to?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel like I'm getting into the process now of more the producing side. So for me, I listen to the music a lot and how it's made, and I try and look at what what gear do they have on stage, because you're right, there's they use laptops now, and I had to figure that out. I literally went on Instagram and looked for artists who have similar music to me, and I looked at how do they even plug their laptop into the PA system? I was so confused for so long. It was a process.
Yeah, that's right. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I know now, and I do use my laptop, and I use a keyboard as well, and I do look at their performances as well. There's a few artists that I've seen, and it's awesome to see how they work with playing keyboard and trying to sing and give off a performance as well. Because that's, for me, I would always perform with nothing, just like a backing track. But now I'm having to play an instrument and sing, and just trying to give the same energy that I would if I wasn't playing an instrument.
When I watched you at the Parramatta Lanes, it was pretty cool. I was driving on the main road, and there were so many people going to the venue. And then when I got there, I was like, there's Clarissa, she's on stage. And I got to get out of the car. And Rob went to go find parking, and I could hear your voice, and it was great. It was so amazing. And then I got in there, and there were food stalls, all the lights, and then you in this setting of in this amazing backdrop of this, what do you call it, the house. It was like a heritage house or something. Yeah. And then it was just you with your keyboard and your laptop, and then all these weird dancers dressed in gold and in stilts, and I think they were in stilts, or they were just tall. I'm not sure.
They were in something like that.
Yeah, and they were amazing. It was so cool. It was just a different atmosphere, and you chose songs that from the 80s and up till now. What is I remember you singing Smooth Operator, which is really cool.
That song. Everyone loves that song. I feel every time I play it, everyone sings it, all age ranges. I see people singing along. I'm like, it's so cool. So it's one of my favorites.
It is. And so the band that I used to work with, the covers band, the guitarist of Sade was he was the guitarist of Sade.
Wow.
So he was the one that played
cool.
on Sade's album. And
oh my gosh, that's so insane. What the heck? Yeah,
I know, right? And like it was real. When I was listening to you sing that, I'm like, it's kind of full circle, you know. It's amazing. I was going to ask you what your inspiration is for music. Like, what is your process of creating your beats and producing your backing tracks and things like that?
With my original stuff, I feel like I've been working more on. I work more on like how do I say, like the messages of the song. Like I have a concept for the EP and the single that I'm releasing, and the music side of it kind of came after. And when I made the single first, and when I made that, I kind of knew that was the sound. And I was working with Rachel Arakan, and she's a producer and an audio engineer, and I was recording a completely different song that I wrote a long time ago, and I wanted that to be my single. And then this one day I wrote a song, and I got home, I finished it really quickly. Like it was a really fast song to make, and I sent it to her, and she was like, I think that's your single, like that's the one. And I was like, okay. I was like, yeah. So yeah, Rachel Arkan's really awesome. I owe a lot to her. She would always send me opportunities and different workshops. She's like, oh, you should go to this thing, especially in electronic music, because I had no idea about any of the things, but she showed me all these different, events that I could go to learn and grow. So she's really awesome. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have done the electronic music workshop. And if I didn't do that workshop, I wouldn't have gotten any of the gigs I had in the past few months. So
yeah,
it's crazy.
Awesome.
Crazy to think. Yeah.
What was the single that you decided on? Are you allowed to say?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's called Vulnerable. So that's going to be my debut single, released in February. So yeah, it's really awesome. I've been waiting a while to release it, but I just haven't found a chance to yet. But I think it's definitely going to be released in February.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. And why has it taken you this long? Do you find that it's just timing, or was it any mindset that you, like any blockages in your mindset?
Well, I guess it was more of the fact that, like last year, I was focusing on that other song that was completely different, and I focused on that for a few weeks, months maybe. So it was just crazy to think that was going to be the direction I was going in, and then here comes this song I wrote in this completely different scene of music, and then I had to wait to work with some people to mix it and master it so it was ready for the radio to be released properly. And then by the time I was ready, I was advised by some good friends of mine to not release it until a better time, just PR purposes, and just so it gets the best traction it can when I release it. So yeah, February.
Excellent. Yeah. And when is your festival?
Secret Garden. Yeah, it's on the 23rd and 24th of February.
Okay, so like in time for that. Is that?
Yeah,
that's
actually,
the idea.
Yeah. Yes, I planned that. No, yeah, it's good. Yeah,
that's so wonderful. So you've been pretty much in the industry for a long time, but this electronic soul kind of genre that you've created / pop, what kind of mindset do you need to have? Like, are there any kind of setbacks that you've had, and then how do you get over any of those negative thoughts or challenges that you might have? What are some of the things that you have been able to do that can help young artists who are sort of finding themselves as well and trying to navigate through this industry?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing for me was finding my sound, and because I did so many different types of music, as you know, and just a completely 180 flip on the music scene that I was going to be in last year. That happened last year. So It was a really big challenge because for me, it was really hard to meet, because I had to meet new people again. And I was like, that's a struggle for me. But I guess that's something, we have to face as musicians in the industry. You just have to constantly meet new people. And I think for me, what helped me was just to keep going and keep trying, and don't focus too much on, what happened. Because for a little while, I was a bit, not like upset, just it was a bit frustrating, having worked all this time on, this type of music, and then in the end I wasn't even going to pursue it. So I was like, oh, did I waste my time? But in the end I realized, like, no, it was every different type of music I did. It was all a process, and it all actually influenced me to my music today. Like everything I did, playing in the jazz band, or learning keyboards, or singing all those belty ballads at the philo community events, they all influence my music now. And I really feel that it's in there. And even some friends of mine say that, oh, you sound like you can really hear your influences in your music. And I was like, wow, that's so awesome. So I never regret any challenges that I faced, and it was really good. So just keep pushing through, and just remembering that everything does happen for a reason, even though it might be hard in that point, but it'll definitely get better.
Yeah, and that's awesome. That's a really good way to put it. It is a process. And also I love the way that you dived into all different types of music, and you learn about your voice, on how to create that certain sound, that belty sound, or that like that jazzy sound, and the soulful sound, and you've integrated all. And then can you imagine, like, in 20 years time, how your voice is going to develop, and how you're going to be as an artist again. It's like even so 5-10 years time, it's exciting. And I think a lot of kids focus on, am I going to get there, but we kind of have to trust the process of it all.
That was a big thing for me. Even now, like, I still get a bit freaked out just coming into the new year. I was like, I want to do all these things. How do I do this? I want to be here and I want to reach this goal, but I don't know how to do it. Am I just wasting my time? Was last year a fluke? Like, I can get really, negative sometimes, but that's my struggle that I face, and
But you know what?
I really have to work hard.
We all have to work hard, and as artists, I think that's the main struggles that we have, even for myself. And I've been doing this for a while, and I think exactly the same way as you. I want to be at this part, and how do I get there? And I think that's what drives us. I think that's important, and I think it's healthy, because if there's like, for example, for you probably have someone that you really look up to within your genre of music, and then you can kind of figure out, okay, how did they get there, which is what you're doing anyway. How did they get there? And then you work backwards and figure out, what did they do? And then learn from what they did. So I think everybody kind of goes through that, and that is the challenge, but then that is also the most exciting part of what we do as singers and artists. So it's exciting. Your EP, how many songs are you planning to have on your EP? And I know your inspiration, your single will be the Vulnerable song, but what is your EP all about, and what is the inspiration behind it?
Well, there's 5 tracks on it, and the single's included in that. And the concept of the EP is actually based off the same title as the single, which is called Vulnerable. The EP is going to be called Vulnerable as well. And each track is just because it's the first thing I've released, and I've been waiting to release something for a long time, and I just never, I don't know, I wanted to release something really good because it's my first, the first piece of music that people will see me doing and relate me to. I feel like it's a big thing to have your first release. I don't know, unless I'm building it up myself in my head. But, the idea was just to really connect to anyone who listens to my music. And I feel the way to connect to people, and when you're meeting new people or even with friends and creating good friendships, is to be vulnerable with them and to share your struggles. I feel like for me in the past few months, in the past year, in 2017, I made the best friendships when I was at my most vulnerable, and it was really awesome. So I really like the idea that that maybe I can, connect to some listeners and maybe get a following from being my most vulnerable self in my song. So each track is kind of a different struggle that I deal with, or a different topic, but all very vulnerable.
Yeah. I see that it's a lot of people are getting in touch with their vulnerability and that kind of side of them. When do you ever feel like there's times where you don't want to be too vulnerable? There's times when, yes, you can choose when to be vulnerable or when you should. Like, how do you navigate through that?
Well, for me, I never would really talk about some sort of things. Like, I would never want to be vulnerable. I'll just say that, like, ever. And it was only recently that I, decided to, open up to people, because that's like, I would never have gotten through certain situations. I wouldn't have recovered if I didn't open up to people. And then, I would have opened up to a friend, and then they would have been like, I've been through the exact same thing. And that's so awesome. And I guess there's some people that you confide in, and I really, you choose who you confide in about certain things. But yeah, I think some things I'm talking about some things in the EP that I struggle with, and I think I just figure out what's appropriate for, what I think people would relate to. So
do you find that your songwriting healed you in the times where you felt like you struggled in certain parts of your life?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely helped to just kind of get it out of my system and really write about it. And it's not that it completely healed me, like, it just kind of opened it up, because rather than, not talking about it, which is something I do a lot, like, I'll just kind of bury everything that I feel, and which is so bad. But talking about it in the songs really kind of, it brings up the topic, and it's really awesome to just have my vulnerable self, out there for people to see, and hopefully people connect with that.
Yeah, that's great. Because I know, like, being a Filipino background, it's something that we're not really used to, right? We just kind of, I mean, for myself, different generation to you too, where it was like, don't cry, just get on with it.
I think there was one lesson with you, and I just was crying so hard, and then we talked about that. I remember, and that was so crazy.
That was the best lesson that we had, right?
I know, and I was crying for so long, and that was the time where I would suppress crying and stuff, so I was crying a lot. That was very dramatic of me, but it was good.
No, I think there's, a lot of don't worry, you're not the only person. And even when I was doing singing lessons, it brings out a lot of emotions out of you when you have a coach and you've known them for a long time, and then you get into your teens. It's like it's different to when you were 7. 7-year-olds just hey miss, it's here, I'm here, and then when you're a teen, it's so many emotions, so many things going on in your life, and things that you don't really talk about, and you kind of suppress. It all builds up, and then one day it's just wow. But I think that's important. That was an important part of your growing, right? As a musician, as an artist, as a songwriter.
Huge, yeah.
because that kind of, as at the same time, helped you, figure out your feelings and
yes.
did you feel that kind of helped you get some ideas on, okay, maybe I will write a song about my feelings, or did that kind of situations like that, did that help you with your songwriting?
Yeah, definitely. I think it even kind of shows in my music now, just like it's like the moments that I was, kind of struggling. That's what I chose to write about. And, that whole thing about, not being able to cry. I think that was the thing. It was like I couldn't cry or something. It was something, I forgot what we spoke about, but it definitely now, I don't think I wrote straight away then. I don't think I was writing that much then, but definitely now I take those experiences and I write about it because it was really key part of my life.
Yeah. It is a process and it is a journey, and I'm really, really proud of you with how far you've come, and I'm excited to see what you create, within the year and when you release your EP. And what do you hope for? What are your dreams in the future?
Yeah. Well, like just after playing the plot, like I didn't realize that was something I would do so soon, like a festival. That just wasn't in my head like for a long time. Like that was far future. So I definitely want to play more festivals, bigger festivals and bigger gigs, and collaborate with artists and kind of just really get out there, and it's really exciting to have my music coming out, and I just want to see where that takes me and see where I can go with it. I would love to, go on tour and travel the world even eventually in the future, hopefully. And
awesome.
I think that's what I've always wanted to do, is really just let my music bring me to travel and bring my music to different countries and stuff. So
Which country are you hoping for?
Ooh, I don't know. Everywhere. I love America. Like when I was younger, I wanted to move to LA for a bit, but then I was like, nah. Like Sydney's really cool. I really love Sydney, and I just want to really work on the music scene here because it's actually really awesome. And but eventually, America and Asia and Europe. Even actually, Europe is a big one for me because that seems so like far for me. I don't know. It's just like it's a whole. It's really awesome.
Yeah, because you've been to LA and you performed, with the Glee Club Australia, and
it's just funny, like looking back at all the different things that I did. I did that as well. That's so crazy. Like that was like more musical theater-y and dancing and acting, which is. But maybe eventually I'll get back into acting and stuff. And I was like, the future.
That's awesome. And I love what you're doing as well. You're like helping out with the community. Tell us about the stuff that you're doing with the youth.
Yeah, so I work for an initiative called Switch, and it's so awesome because I used to go to Switch when I was young, like. Still young, but like younger, around the age of just the early teens, I'll say that. I went there for a dance class, and I was not a dancer, but it was just fun, and it was good to be around, other kids and stuff, and I think a friend invited me, so it was really fun and just a good community. And recently I was asked by a friend who's mentoring it to be part of the team and mentor their they have a music program as well as a dance one. So it was really awesome. I got into mentoring the music program, and it's really awesome just to see kids, and they really love the program, and it's like a little family almost, and it's really awesome. Yeah, just as you know, as a kid in Blacktown or in the West, and you know, struggling, like finding out, you know, what to do, and the pressures are a little bit more as, you know, a kid in the West. You know, the opportunities that you can get are a little bit harder, and Switch kind of provides that you know, help, and we kind of give direction to the kids, and we hope to, you know, see them off to their future and see them, you know, achieve their goals and dreams. So,
and how do people get involved with that? Like, where is it located? Is it in Blacktown, and what happens?
Yeah, so it's in Blacktown. The dance classes are usually held at Vibe Gym in Blacktown, which is on level 4. But with the singing class, we're actually relocating at the moment. Last year we were at Bicester, but this year we're working with our partners to try and find a new location so we can have a really good, just the best experience for the kids, have a great environment. So yeah, that's it'll be updated. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. What is one song that has changed your life?
Ooh. One song that's changed my life. Oh, I'm so sorry. You asked me this, but I totally didn't look for it.
That's
and
okay.
I thought I would know.
Yeah, something that kind of stood out to you, something that maybe it was a song that you first started singing, and that's when you knew, yeah, this is where I want to be. This is it. This is singing. It will be my life. Or maybe it was a song that you wrote, or
that's it. I want to say it. I was going to say a song I wrote, but then that's so like, I don't know. Is that too like, oh, my own song changed my life? Like,
it could. You know, it's your song. It's your one song. It's yours.
Okay. Ooh. Okay. Well, I'll just do a song I wrote.
Go ahead. Own it.
All right. Yeah, the song that was supposed to be my single before Vulnerable, that was the first song that I wrote that I was really proud of, and that's when I knew, like, okay, because I never wrote songs before. I just would sing other people's songs, and that was it. But as soon as I wrote that song and on guitar, and I made the lyrics and the vocals, and I was like, wow, like, I can write my own songs. I can make being an artist for myself, like, it can be a real thing. And yeah, it was really awesome. And even what it was about, like, was really cool. It was about, you know, chasing your dreams, and that's really what I was going for, and that's what I'm doing now. So it's really cool. It's kind of,
What's the name of your song?
It was called 2 a.m.
Yeah, so, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember the lyric 2 a.m. It's 2 a.m. So it's a good thing. It's great. I think that's, own that. It's part of your journey. I know people say that a lot, but it is. It is. That was the start of when you thought, wow, I can do it. Yeah. And sometimes we want to have that perfection, and then that holds us back. But I think it's great that you're able to just keep moving forward, and sometimes it doesn't have to be perfect, but just create things and just keep moving. And and sometimes we have to pivot. Sometimes we have to take 180 turn like what you did, but that's the whole fun of it. That's the
It's been really fun.
So thank you so much for being part of the show. I'm so excited for what's to come for you, and excited to see and hear your EP, and then maybe hopefully I'll come to one of those festivals again.
Yes, for sure. No, thanks for having me. Like, it's really awesome to chat to you about where I am now. And yeah, you were really, like, going to One Voice was like a huge part of my, like a huge chunk of, you know, my childhood and growing up. And yeah, I definitely, like I was saying before, I wouldn't be where I am without, you know, the different things that I've done, and I definitely wouldn't be how I am now or where I am without you and the school. So I'm really grateful.
Oh, you're so welcome. You know, and you were one of the students that just worked. You just put your head down and you just did it, and you didn't complain. You were patient. You were always like, okay, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to do the work and see what comes out. Yeah. And that's what it's all about. It's about persistence and, yeah, just trusting in the process.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm really, really proud of you. Thank you so much for sharing your story, and I just idolize you. I really do. I do. Even though, like, you were my student, I just think, wow, you're just doing amazing things. So
thank you.
I'm starting to tear up.
All right.
Thanks, Clarissa.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, there you go, guys. I'm so glad you were able to hang around and stick around till the very end of this episode. I'm just really proud of her, and if you can, go give her a review or a comment or some encouragement. We all need that. I wanted to leave with you a song that is an original from me. It was co-written by Van Sereno, and it was produced by Byron Mark. It's called Journey Gently, and it was written for my students. So until next time, I'm Tina Bangel, and hopefully we will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
From braces and pigtails to jewels and extensions, from innocence and wonder to questions and comprehensions, your license to drive won't give you the right for recklessness and selfish intentions. Journey, 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 gently. Journey, 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 safely. Take your time, go slow in coming home. This is your path, a road being built to streets that are travelers all through countryside with even days of delay and roundabout ways. Just find a place where you want to stay. Journey, 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 gently. Journey, 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 safely. Take your time, go slow in coming home. When you climb the driven or sailed or flown, it doesn't really matter, just grow. There's no use in building your skyscraper and sand, so lay strong foundation withstand. Journey, 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 gently. Journey, 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 safely. Take your time, go